So that brings us to our next question. How the heck do we heal? How do we get out of pain when we have a pain problem? All right. And we already said that rest is something that can be beneficial too. So if you just hurt yourself, if you back off some of your training, right, for a week or two and it starts to feel a little bit better, right, you're doing a good job. You're in the right direction. But the second stage of that is you have to start to ramp back up your training slowly after you have an injury. All right. So exercise is the medicine that's going to allow your body to adapt to stress. Okay. But the next important part is that it's all about the dosage, right? So going back to the exercise as medicine part, because I really want to hammer down this point. If you want your biceps to grow, what do you do to get your biceps to grow? You do a bunch of bicep curls, right? You do that over the course of time and your bicep will get bigger, all right? Let's say you have a shoulder injury and you want your shoulder to heal. How does your body know what it has to handle so it can adapt and get better? It needs to be stressed. It needs to be exercised. So if you exercise your shoulder, you're basically showing your shoulder, oh, okay, I need to be able to handle these stresses. I'll adapt. I'll improve. I'll heal. Okay? That's very important. The next thing that's very important to understand is the dosage, right? And this is probably my favorite analogy. I say this probably like 3 to 4 times a day, every single day, right? So if you go to the doctor and you've got headaches, and the doctor says, hey, try some aspirin, and you go home and you take 2 aspirin, it's probably going to get rid of your headache. But if you go home and you take the whole bottle of aspirin, it's going to kill you, right? So if you take the right dosage, you're good. If you take the whole bottle, you die. Okay? And the aspirin's not at fault if you take the entire bottle. It's just that you took way too much, all right? And again, this is a reason why people will fail physical therapy a lot of times, because they'll say, oh, went to physical therapy, tried exercise, and it didn't work, right? We have to try to change the dosage again. A little more exercise, a little less exercise. We kind of change things, and over the course of time, we find that right dosage, all right? So the analogy I like to use is, let's say you have a shoulder injury. Okay? There's a huge difference between doing controlled dumbbell overhead press versus 100 reps of push jerks. The controlled dumbbell overhead press might be that perfect amount of aspirin to get you better. The 100 reps of heavy push jerks is going to be the entire bottle, and you kill your shoulder, right? The next part to understand is that we need to make sure that our frequency of dosage is right, okay? So have you ever been to the doctor before and they gave you a medication, but they gave you no directions on how to take it? Of course not. They always give you a direction. So let's say you go to the doctor and they say, I want you to take these antibiotics. I want you to take 2 pills, and I want you to take it twice a day, and I want you to take it for 2 weeks. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we need to do. And that's where we need to be from a rehab perspective as well. And the next point I want to talk about is that sometimes something like CrossFit, which I love CrossFit, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't do CrossFit, might not be the best for rehab of specific injuries, just because there's way too much variety, okay? So if you're trying to use CrossFit for rehabbing your shoulder, that's kind of like going to the doctor and they give you a bunch of pills and you say, okay, I'm going to start taking these. So on Monday, you take 6 pills, right? You don't take any more pills until Thursday. You take 22 pills, and then you throw the bottle away afterwards, right? So CrossFit has so much variety going on, right? Some days you might be doing 100 push jerks, some days you might do nothing for the shoulder, that the dosage is just not right, right? And the dosage is all over the place. So we just need consistent dosing in order to get better, all right? The other thing is that, let's say you have a headache and aspirin doesn't work for you, but you know that Tylenol works really well for you. And maybe some people, Tylenol and aspirin doesn't work, but ibuprofen is a thing that really helps out, right? So let's say that for someone who has shoulder pain, push-up might be the right exercise, whereas someone else, overhead press is the right exercise, right? Or that same person before the push-up was the right exercise can't tolerate any overhead press because it's way too painful, but they can do push-ups all day long and it doesn't bother them at all, right? Same thing goes for pushing exercises versus pulling exercises. Sometimes people with shoulder pain can't tolerate pushing, but they can tolerate pulling, or vice versa. Maybe pulling feels terrible, pushing feels pretty good. So we just need to make sure that that dosage is appropriate, and we're not just throwing a bunch of stress at people. Okay, and again, this is information that I believe is more important for the physical therapist. This is what I have to think about when people come to my office, but we also need to make sure that when I get the athlete back to you in your hands, you're thinking about these variables as well.